I installed a nanny cam to check on our dog. Instead, I caught my wife with my best friend in our bed. They had no idea I was watching live from my office. I installed a nanny cam to monitor our anxious puppy while we were at work. Instead, on a random Tuesday afternoon, I logged in from my office and watched in real time as my wife had sex with my best friend on our living room couch. They had no idea I was watching. They had no idea I'd been recording everything for weeks. Hey Reddit, this is the story of how a $60 camera meant to help our dog revealed the two people I trusted most had been betraying me for months. I'm Daniel, 32 years old, and what I'm about to tell you will make you question whether you ever really know anyone. Even your wife of 6 years and your best friend since college. You know that moment when your entire life fractures? When the reality you believed in shatters so completely that you question everything you thought you knew. That's where this story goes. But let me start from the beginning, because to understand how completely Lauren and Tyler destroyed my world, you need to understand what we had and how thoroughly I trusted both of them. I met Lauren 8 years ago when I was 24 and she was 22. I was working as a junior data analyst in Seattle, making about $62,000 a year. Lauren had just graduated with her teaching degree and gotten her first job as a high school English teacher. We met through a mutual friend at a barbecue, connected immediately over shared interests in hunting and travel, started dating within a week. Lauren was everything I'd wanted in a partner. Smart, kind, funny, beautiful. She had this warmth about her that drew people in. Students loved her, colleagues respected her. Everyone who met her thought she was wonderful. I felt lucky that she'd chosen me. Tyler had been my best friend since our sophomore year of college. We'd met in an economics class, bonded over shared interests in sports and music, stayed close after graduation even though he went into personal training while I went into data analysis. When I started dating Lauren, I introduced them within the first month. They hit it off immediately. Tyler's outgoing personality complemented Lauren's warmth perfectly. The three of us became inseparable. 2 years into dating Lauren, I proposed. Simple proposal during a weekend trip to Portland, at the Japanese garden where we'd had one of our first dates. She said yes enthusiastically. Tyler was the first person we told, and he was genuinely thrilled. Offered to help with wedding planning, threw me an epic bachelor party, gave a heartfelt toast at our wedding about how perfect we were together. Our wedding was everything we'd want. 120 guests. Beautiful venue overlooking Puget Sound. Lauren in a dress that made her look like a princess. Tyler was my best man. In his speech, he said, "I've known Daniel for 8 years, and I've never seen him happier than he is with Lauren. She's the best thing that ever happened to him, and I'm honored to stand here today celebrating their love. Here's to a lifetime of happiness for my best friend and his incredible wife." Looking back now, knowing what I know, that speech makes me nauseous. But at the time, it was perfect, sincere, moving. Several people cried. The first 4 years of marriage were good, really good. Lauren taught high school. I worked my way up to senior data analyst making $92,000. We bought a house in Ballard, 3 bedrooms, small yard, perfect for starting a family. Tyler was over constantly, helping with home renovation projects, joining us for dinners, coming to family gatherings. He was as much a part of our lives as our own families. When Lauren got pregnant 3 years into our marriage, Tyler was one of the first people we told. He was ecstatic, threw us a co-ed baby shower, assembled the crib and changing table when Lauren was too pregnant to help, and I was overwhelmed. When our daughter Emma was born, Tyler was at the hospital within hours of the delivery, holding her with tears in his eyes, saying she was the most beautiful baby he'd ever seen. "Uncle Tyler loves you so much," he'd coo to Emma, and I believed he did. He was amazing with her, played with her for hours, bought her thoughtful gifts, attended her birthday parties. Emma adored him, called him Uncle Ty, would run to him squealing with excitement when he came over. This is important to understand. Tyler wasn't just my best friend. He was family, integrated completely into our lives. I trusted him with my daughter, with my home, with my wife. The three of us, Daniel, Lauren, Tyler, were a unit. He had keys to our house, came over when we weren't home to water plants when we traveled, was as comfortable in our space as we were. Never, not once in 12 years of friendship and 6 years of him knowing my wife, did I suspect anything inappropriate. Never did I feel jealous or concerned. He was my brother in every way that mattered, and Lauren seemed to view him the same way, as an extension of our family, someone we loved and trusted completely. 2 years after Emma was born, 6 months ago, we decided to get a dog. Emma was 3 and constantly asking for a puppy. Lauren's summers off as a teacher meant she'd be home to help with training. I'd gotten promoted to lead data analyst making $105,000 so we could afford the expense. It seemed like perfect timing. We adopted Cooper, a 1-year-old golden retriever mix from the shelter. Sweet, energetic, needed training but had a good temperament. Emma was obsessed with him. Lauren seemed excited about having a dog. Tyler, of course, loved him. Would come over specifically to take Cooper for runs, since he was into fitness and enjoyed having a running companion. The first month with Cooper was great. Some typical puppy issues, chewing, house training, but nothing unusual. He was affectionate, got along well with Emma, seemed to be adjusting fine. Then the behavioral problems started. It began with small things. Cooper would be anxious when we left for work, would bark excessively, would pace by the door. Then it escalated. He started destroying things. Couch cushions, shoes, door frames. We'd come home to find the house torn apart. Cooper panting anxiously, clearly stressed. It's separation anxiety, Lauren said. The shelter mentioned he'd been through multiple homes before we adopted him. He's probably worried we'll abandon him too. We tried everything. Crate training. Cooper would panic and hurt himself trying to escape. Anxiety medication from the vet. Minimal improvement. More exercise before we left. Helped slightly but didn't solve the problem. Doggy daycare. Too expensive at $35 per day, and Cooper seemed more stressed when we picked him up. I don't know what else to do, Lauren said after finding Cooper had destroyed another couch cushion. Maybe we need to hire a behavioral specialist? That's when I suggested the nanny cam. What if we set up a camera to see what Cooper does when we're gone? That way we can understand what's triggering the anxiety and address it specifically. That's actually a good idea, Lauren agreed. Then we can show the footage to a trainer and they can give us targeted advice. Tyler, who was over for dinner that night, as he often was, chimed in, "Yeah, man, that makes sense. My client did that with their dog and figured out the mailman was triggering the barking. Once they knew the cause, they fixed it easily. So I bought a Furbo pet camera, $200, highly rated, had treat dispensing capability, two-way audio, and live streaming I could access from my phone or computer. I set it up in the living room with a clear view of the couch, door, and most of the main floor. Perfect," Lauren said when I showed her the app. "Now we can check on him during the day and see what's going on." I installed it on a Friday evening. That weekend, we tested it. Could see Cooper clearly. Audio worked perfectly. Could even talk to him through the speaker and watch him tilt his head confused at hearing my voice from the camera. Monday morning, Lauren went to work. Summer school teaching job, 3 days a week. I went to my office. Emma went to daycare. Cooper was home alone with his new camera monitoring him. I checked the feed around 10 a.m. Cooper was sleeping peacefully on his bed. No anxiety. No destruction. Completely calm. Checked again at noon. Still sleeping. PM, playing with a toy. I texted Lauren. Cooper seems totally fine on the camera. No anxiety at all. That's weird, she responded. Maybe he's calmer during the day than we thought. Maybe the destruction happens right when we leave. Tuesday, I checked the camera periodically throughout the day. Cooper seemed fine. A little pacing around 9 a.m., but then settled down. No destruction. No panic. I don't get it, I told Lauren that evening. He's not showing any anxiety on the camera, but we keep coming home to destruction. Maybe he's doing it right before we get home? When he hears the garage? Maybe. I'll check the recordings. Wednesday morning. I was in a meeting from 9:11 a.m., so I didn't check the camera. Came out of the meeting to a text from Lauren. Cooper destroyed another cushion. Came home at lunch to check on him and found the living room trashed. That was odd. Lauren didn't usually come home at lunch. Her summer school ended at 3 p.m., and she'd normally just stay at school to grade papers until then. But she'd come home at lunch, presumably after the destruction happened, to find the damage. "Did you check the camera to see when it happened?" I texted back, "No, didn't think of it. Can you check tonight?" I made a mental note to review footage that evening to see exactly when Cooper was destroying things. But then, Wednesday afternoon at 2:30 p.m., while I was at my desk working on a data analysis project, I decided to check the camera quickly. Just wanted to see if Cooper was calm or anxious, if there were patterns to his behavior that might help us understand the destruction. I opened the Furbo app on my computer, clicked the live feed, waited for it to load. The image appeared on my screen. Crystal clear, full color, perfect view of our living room, and what I saw made my heart stop. On our couch, the couch I'd bought, in the house I paid the mortgage on, with the throw pillows Lauren had picked out. My wife was having sex with my best friend, not kissing, not cuddling, actively having sex. Lauren was on top of Tyler, both of them naked, moving together in a rhythm that made it very clear this wasn't their first. I stared at the screen, couldn't process what I was seeing. This had to be wrong, had to be a mistake. Had to be, but it wasn't. The timestamp showed 2:31 p.m. Wednesday live feed. This was happening right now, at this exact moment. While I sat at my desk 30 minutes away, my wife was fucking my best friend on our couch. I couldn't move, couldn't look away, couldn't breathe, just watched as they continued, completely unaware that I could see them. The camera was positioned on a shelf, disguised as a decorative piece. They had no idea it was there. No idea they were being recorded. No idea I was watching. Lauren said something. I couldn't hear the audio from this distance. My headphones weren't plugged in, and Tyler laughed. They looked comfortable together, familiar. This wasn't awkward or hesitant. This was practiced, natural, like they'd done this many times before. How long had I been staring? 2 minutes? 5? However long, they were still going. Lauren's head was thrown back, eyes closed. Tyler had his hands on her hips. They looked happy, content, like they belonged together. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. I closed the laptop without exiting the feed. Couldn't bear to watch anymore, but also couldn't quite believe what I'd just seen. Needed to process. Needed to think. I stood up from my desk on autopilot, walked to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, sat down on the closed toilet seat and stared at the wall. My wife was cheating on me. With my best friend. In our home. While our daughter was at daycare. While I was at work earning the money that paid for that home. That couch. Those lives they were living while betraying me. How long had this been going on? Weeks? Months? The way they moved together suggested months. They were too comfortable, too practiced. This wasn't a new affair. This was established. Routine. Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. That seemed oddly specific. Was this a regular thing? Did they have a schedule? Did Tyler come over every Wednesday at 2:30 knowing I'd be at work? Knowing Emma would be at daycare? Knowing they'd have hours alone in my house? And Tuesday, Lauren had texted about Cooper destroying a cushion. Said she'd come home at lunch to check on him. But lunch was noon 1 p.m. The destruction she'd described. Had that been them? Had they made the mess? Or had they just used Cooper's behavioral problems as an excuse for Lauren to be home during the day when she normally wouldn't be? My mind was racing. Every interaction between Lauren and Tyler over the past months was suddenly suspect. Every time Tyler had been over for dinner, had they exchanged looks I'd missed? Every time he'd helped with home projects, had they found moments alone? Every time Lauren had seemed distant or distracted, had she been thinking about him? And Emma, God, Emma, our 3-year-old daughter who loved Unca Ty so much, had they been doing this while she was in the house? Had they waited until she napped? Or only when she was at daycare like today? I pulled out my phone, opened the Furbo app. The live feed showed them still on the couch, now in a different position. This had been going on for, I checked the time, 18 minutes since I'd first opened the camera. 18 minutes of watching and then sitting in this bathroom stall processing. I closed the app again. Couldn't watch anymore. My stomach was churning. I felt like I might vomit. But underneath the shock and nausea and heartbreak was something else. Something colder. Anger. Growing, crystallizing anger. They thought they were being so careful. Thought they'd gotten away with it. Tyler was my best friend. Why would I ever suspect him? Lauren was my loyal wife. Why would I ever doubt her? And even if I got suspicious, what evidence would I find? They were doing this in my home, during working hours, when no one would normally be around to catch them. Except they hadn't counted on the nanny cam. Hadn't known I'd installed it. Hadn't known that their careful affair was being recorded in high definition with timestamps and audio. I opened the app one more time. They were getting dressed now. Affair concluded for today. Time to return to their normal lives. Time for Tyler to go back to his apartment. For Lauren to pick Emma up from daycare at 5 p.m. For both of them to pretend nothing had happened when I came home from work at 6. I watched as Tyler kissed Lauren goodbye at the front door. Watched as she smiled at him, touched his face affectionately. Watched as he left and she straightened the couch cushions, checking her appearance in the hallway mirror, transforming from Tyler's lover back into my... She checked her phone. I watched her type something. Within seconds, my phone buzzed. Text from Lauren, home from school, about to get Emma from daycare. Want me to pick up anything for dinner? I stared at the text. She'd just finished having sex with my best friend and was now asking what I wanted for dinner. The compartmentalization was stunning. The betrayal was complete. I didn't respond immediately. Needed to think, needed to plan, because rushing home to confront them, while satisfying, would be stupid. I had evidence. I had timestamps. I potentially had weeks of recordings if they'd been using my house for this affair regularly. I needed to be smart, strategic, needed to document everything, consult an attorney, protect myself and Emma before I confronted the two people who'd destroyed my world. I texted back, just pick up some rotisserie chicken. I'll make sides when I get home. Normal. Routine. Giving no indication that anything had changed. Then I opened my laptop again, opened the Furbo app, went into the recordings archive. The camera stored footage for 30 days with my subscription plan. I started scrolling through previous days, watched the timestamps, looked for patterns. Monday, 2:28 p.m. Tyler enters the house. By 2:35 p.m., he and Lauren are having sex on the couch. Friday, last week, 2:31 p.m. Same thing. Tyler arrives. They have sex within minutes. Tuesday, last week, 11:47 a.m. Tyler arrives. They have sex on the couch. I kept scrolling, kept finding recordings. 3 times per week minimum. Sometimes more. Sometimes in different locations. I could see them moving toward what I assumed was the bedroom, though the camera didn't capture that. But the living room seemed to be their favorite spot, or maybe just the most convenient. I counted the instances I could see clearly. Over the past 30 days of recordings, 14 times. 14 times in the past month, my wife and best friend had been having sex in my house while I worked to pay the mortgage, and that was just what the camera caught. How many times before I installed it? The camera had only been up for 5 days. Before that, nothing recorded. How long had this affair been going on? Months? Longer? Cooper, our anxious dog. The destroyed cushions. The behavioral problems that prompted the camera installation. Suddenly I understood. Cooper wasn't anxious about being alone. Cooper was reacting to Lauren and Tyler, to strangers in his space, to unusual activity, to people who weren't supposed to be there during the day. That's why he destroyed things. He was stressed by the affair happening in his home. We'd been trying to fix Cooper's anxiety while completely missing the cause. The destruction wasn't separation anxiety. It was Cooper's way of telling us something was wrong. And ironically, trying to solve Cooper's problem had exposed the real issue. My wife's infidelity. I closed my laptop. 4 p.m. now. I'd spent 90 minutes in the bathroom stall, watching recordings, processing betrayal. Needed to get back to my desk before someone noticed my extended absence. I walked back to my office, sat down, stared at my computer screen without seeing it. Couldn't work, couldn't focus, could only think about Lauren and Tyler, about how thoroughly they'd betrayed me, about how I'd trusted them both completely. My phone buzzed. Text from Tyler. Hey man, still on for basketball this weekend? Tyler, my best friend. The guy I'd trusted for 12 years. The guy who'd been my best man. The guy who held my daughter and called her beautiful. That guy had been fucking my wife 3 times a week for God knows how long. I texted back, yeah, sounds good, normal, friendly, giving no indication I knew, because I wasn't ready to confront yet, wasn't ready to blow this up. Not until I had my ducks in a row, evidence secured, legal advice obtained, plan in place. 5:30 p.m., time to go home, time to face Lauren and pretend I didn't know, time to watch her lie to my face while I smiled and asked about her day. I drove home in a daze, pulled into the garage. Inside, Emma ran to greet me. Daddy! Daddy's home! I picked her up, hugged her tight. My beautiful daughter. Innocent in all of this. How was I going to protect her from what was coming? Lauren was in the kitchen, pulling the rotisserie chicken apart for dinner. She looked up when I walked in, smiled. Hey babe, how was work? I looked at her. This woman I'd loved for 8 years. This woman I'd married. This woman who'd given birth to our daughter. This woman who'd been having sex with my best friend 3 hours earlier on our couch. Work was good, I said calmly. How was your day? My day was fine, Lauren said, turning back to the chicken. Summer school kids are exhausting, but good. Emma was perfect at pickup. How was your day? I watched her lie. Watched her pretend she'd been at school all day. Watched her act like the devoted wife and mother instead of the woman who'd been having sex with my best friend 3 hours earlier. Productive, I said. Finished that data analysis project. Boss was impressed. Normal conversation. Routine evening. I helped set the table while Lauren finished dinner prep. Emma told us about her day at daycare. Something about finger painting and a friend named Sophie. I smiled and nodded and responded appropriately while my mind screamed with what I'd seen on that camera feed. Dinner was surreal. We ate rotisserie chicken and rice while Lauren asked about my upcoming basketball game with Tyler. You guys still playing Saturday? Yeah, should be fun. Tell Tyler he should stay for dinner after. I'm making lasagna. She invited my best friend, her affair partner, in our home. The audacity was breathtaking. After dinner, I played with Emma while Lauren cleaned the kitchen. Bath time, bedtime routine, reading stories. All completely normal. All completely devastating because this was my family that Lauren was destroying with her affair. Once Emma was asleep, Lauren and I watched TV on the couch. The same couch where she'd been with Tyler hours earlier. She curled up against me. I'm tired. Think I'll go to bed early. I have some work to finish up. I'll be up later. She kissed me goodnight. Went upstairs, and I sat in my office, laptop open, systematically downloading every video file from the Furbo camera to an external hard drive. 14 instances of clear infidelity over the past 30 days. Time-stamped, high definition. Audio of them talking, laughing, saying things that left no doubt this was an ongoing affair. I created a secure folder, password protected, backed up to cloud storage. Then I started researching divorce attorneys in Seattle. Thursday morning, I woke up before Lauren, went to work early, called 3 law firms from my car before the workday started. The third attorney, Margaret Stevens, specialized in complex divorces, excellent review, could see me during my lunch break. Walk me through what's happening, Margaret said once I was in her office. I told her everything. The nanny cam, the discovery, the 14 recorded instances, the fact that the affair partner was my best friend who was integrated into our family. Do you have the video footage? Yes. Downloaded and backed up. Good. Don't delete anything from the original camera yet, but keep those backups secure. That evidence will be crucial. Washington is a no-fault divorce state, so infidelity doesn't affect asset division, but it absolutely matters for custody. How? A parent engaged in an affair that involves bringing the affair partner into the family home, potentially exposing the child to inappropriate situations. That speaks to judgment and parenting fitness. We can argue that Lauren created an unstable environment for Emma. What should I do next? Document everything. Keep gathering evidence for at least another week if you can stomach it. The more instances we can prove, the stronger our case. Then file for divorce, and simultaneously file for temporary custody orders. The key is to move quickly once you decide to act. File before she knows you know. Won't she get 50-50 custody anyway? Washington presumes equal parenting time. Presumption can be overcome with evidence of behavior detrimental to the child's well-being. The affair itself isn't automatically disqualifying, but the circumstances matter. Bringing the affair partner around your daughter, conducting the affair in the family home, the deception, these things paint a picture of poor judgment. I left Margaret's office with a plan. One more week of gathering evidence, then swift, decisive action. That week was the hardest of my life, pretending everything was normal, kissing Lauren goodbye each morning, texting Tyler about basketball, coming home to family dinners, all while knowing what they were doing. I checked the camera feed every day. Not live, couldn't bear to watch in real time again, but I'd review the recordings each evening after Lauren went to bed. Monday, 2:34 p.m. Tyler arrives. They have sex on the couch. Afterward, they talk. I turn up the volume to hear. Daniel suspects nothing, Lauren said. He's so trusting. It's almost too easy. Tyler laughed. Your husband is a good guy. Feels bad sometimes. Not bad enough to stop though, right? Not bad enough to stop. Tuesday, 11:52 a.m. Tyler arrives early. They don't even make it to the couch. I can see them moving toward the bedroom stairs. They're gone from frame for 47 minutes. Wednesday, 2:29 p.m. Pattern continues. They're on the couch again. This time I hear Lauren say, "We should be more careful." The camera, my heart stops. She knows about the camera, but then, the security camera by the front door. Daniel might check it. We're careful. I park down the street. We're fine. They thought the only camera was the Ring doorbell. They had no idea about the Furbo inside the house. Thursday, 2:31 p.m. Same pattern. 14 days of recordings now. 21 instances of documented infidelity. Friday, I met with Margaret again. Showed her edited clips. Enough to prove the affair without showing explicit content unnecessary for legal purposes. This is more than enough, she said. We can file Monday. But I want to discuss the confrontation strategy. What do you mean? Many people want to confront immediately. Dramatic revelation, lots of emotion, but I recommend a different approach. You file Monday. We serve Lauren with divorce papers at her school Tuesday morning. Public, embarrassing, but she can't make a scene in front of students. Simultaneously, you move out of the house with Emma and into a rental. You don't give her a chance to spin the narrative or prepare a defense. What about Tyler? What about him? He's not your legal though if he has a girlfriend or family, who should know? That's your prerogative as a scorned husband. Tyler did have a girlfriend, Melissa, a nurse he'd been dating for 8 months. I'd met her several times, liked her, felt sorry that she was dating a man who was actively betraying her with his best friend's wife. One more thing, Margaret said. Family law in Washington allows for recording in your own home without consent, so the videos are admissible. But be prepared. Lauren's attorney will argue you violated her privacy. Try to make you look controlling. It won't work legally, but it might affect how people perceive you. People can perceive me however they want. I'm the victim here. Agreed. But custody evaluations consider parental cooperation. Don't let anger make you look unstable. Stay calm. Stay factual. Stay focused on Emma's well-being. Monday morning, Margaret filed the divorce petition. Listed infidelity as the reason for irretrievable breakdown. Even though Washington is no fault, you can still list reasons. Requested primary custody of Emma, based on evidence of Lauren creating an unstable home environment through her affair. Monday afternoon, I signed a lease on a 2-bedroom apartment near Emma's daycare. Paid first month, last month, and deposit. Arranged for movers for Wednesday. Tuesday morning, Lauren was served with divorce papers at her summer school classroom. A process server walked in during her second period, handed her the papers in front of her students, and walked out. She called me immediately. 17 missed calls in 20 minutes. I didn't answer. She texted, "What the hell is this? Divorce. We need to talk right now." I responded, "We'll talk through attorneys. I know about Tyler. I know everything. Don't come home. I'm changing the locks today." "What? You can't kick me out of my own house. It's my house. My name on the mortgage. Talk to your lawyer." Tuesday afternoon, I went home during lunch, changed all the locks, packed several suitcases of Lauren's clothes and essentials, left them on the front porch. Tyler called. I didn't answer. He texted, "Dude, Lauren called me freaking out. What's going on?" I responded, "I installed a nanny cam for Cooper. Instead of catching dog anxiety, I caught you and my wife having sex on my couch, 21 times over 2 weeks. You're not my friend. Don't contact me again." He tried calling again. I blocked him. Then I did something Margaret hadn't explicitly advised, but that I felt was necessary. I called Melissa. "Daniel? Hi. Is everything okay?" "No. I need to tell you something about Tyler. Can you meet me for coffee?" We met at a Starbucks. I brought my laptop, showed her edited clips of the video footage, nothing explicit, but enough to make it very clear what Tyler and Lauren were doing. Melissa's face went through every emotion: shock, disbelief, horror, rage. Then she started crying. "I'm so sorry," I said. "I know this is awful, but you deserve to know." "How long?" "The footage I have covers 2 weeks, but based on their comfort level, probably months." Months. While he was telling me he loved me. While we were talking about moving in together. "I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Thank you for telling me. Most people wouldn't." She left immediately to confront Tyler. I heard later that she showed up at his apartment, screamed at him in the parking lot for 20 minutes while neighbors watched, then threw his belongings out of her car that she'd been storing for him. Tyler tried to deny it, tried to claim the videos were manipulated, but Melissa wasn't stupid. She'd seen enough. Wednesday, movers helped me take Emma's bedroom furniture, some of my clothes, and essentials to the new apartment. When I picked Emma up from daycare, I told her, "We're going to stay at a new apartment for a while. Mommy will see you on weekends." "Why?" "Because Daddy and Mommy need some space, but we both love you very much." She seemed confused but accepted it. 3-year-olds are remarkably adaptable. Lauren showed up at the house Wednesday evening to find it locked, her clothes on the porch, and a note: "Emma is with me. You'll receive a parenting plan from my attorney. Do not attempt to contact me except through legal channels." She called 37 times that evening. I didn't answer. Thursday, Lauren's attorney, some guy named Robert Chen, called Mark. "Your client needs to return the child immediately. He can't unilaterally decide custody. My client has filed for primary custody, based on substantial evidence that Ms. Thompson created an unsafe home environment through her ongoing extramarital affair conducted in the family home. We're requesting an emergency custody hearing." "That's absurd. Washington is no fault. An affair doesn't determine custody." "The affair itself?" "No. But conducting the affair in the family home, bringing the affair partner around regularly, exposing the child to unstable situations, those things speak to parenting fitness. We have extensive video evidence." "Video evidence? Of what?" "Of Ms. Thompson, engaged in an affair with the husband's best friend, in their living room, multiple times per week. While their daughter was at daycare, yes, but in the home where the child lives." "Would you like us to submit it to the court?" Silence on the other end. "Then, I need to speak with my client." The emergency custody hearing was scheduled for the following Tuesday. In the meantime, I had temporary custody of Emma based on my filing showing I was the primary caretaker who'd removed her from a home environment made unstable by Lauren's affair. Lauren was granted supervised visitation, 3 hours on Saturday. Afternoon at her parents' house. Sunday, I got a text from an unknown number. "This is Tyler. We need to talk." I shouldn't have responded, but I did. "We have nothing to talk about. I never meant for this to happen. Lauren and I, it just happened. We have feelings for each other." "Feelings? You betrayed 12 years of friendship for feelings. You don't understand. Lauren and I connected. We have something real. You had something real. In my house. On my couch. While I paid the mortgage and trusted you with my family. Don't contact me again." But Tyler's text revealed something interesting. He thought he and Lauren had something real. That this affair would somehow turn into a legitimate relationship now that I knew. Monday, my brother Jake called. "Mom told me what happened. I'm so sorry, man. Do you need anything?" "I'm okay. Just taking things one day at a time." "What Lauren did? I can't even process it." "And Tyler? I never liked that guy." "You didn't?" "Always thought he was too smooth. Too integrated into your life. Like he was playing a role." Guess I was right. Tuesday's custody hearing was revealing. Lauren's attorney tried to argue that I'd acted rashly, that removing Emma from her mother was traumatic, that Washington law presumes joint custody. Margaret calmly presented our evidence, showed the judge edited clips establishing the affair, the frequency, the location, family home, the recklessness of conducting it where their daughter lived. The judge, a woman in her 50s named Judge Patricia Morrison, watched the clips without expression, then asked Lauren's attorney, "Does your client dispute this evidence?" "Your Honor, the videos were taken without my client's knowledge, in a home owned by the husband, where he has every right to install security cameras." "Does your client dispute that she engaged in an extramarital affair?" "No, Your Honor." "Does she dispute that this affair took place in the family home?" "The child wasn't present during—" "That's not what I asked. Did this affair take place in the home where the party's minor child resides?" "Yes, Your Honor." Judge Morrison looked at Lauren. "Ms. Thompson, I understand that Washington is a no-fault divorce state. Your affair in and of itself doesn't determine custody. However, your choice to conduct this affair in your family home, to bring your affair partner into your home regularly, to engage in this behavior in the same living space your daughter occupies, that speaks to judgment. For now, I'm ordering primary custody to Mr. Matthews. You'll have supervised visitation until we complete a full custody evaluation. Assuming that evaluation is favorable, we'll move toward a standard parenting plan." Lauren started crying. Her attorney tried to object. Judge Morrison was firm. "This is temporary. The full evaluation will determine long-term arrangements, but based on the evidence presented today, the child's best interest is served by stability with her father while we sort this out. Outside the courtroom, Lauren approached me. Daniel, please. We need to talk. No, I made a mistake. I'm sorry, but you can't take Emma from me. I didn't take Emma from you. You lost her when you decided your affair was more important than your family. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. 21 times in 2 weeks. Probably more before I installed the camera. You made a choice. Now you live with it. Her mother was there, had heard everything. Daniel, please. She's still Emma's mother, and she'll have visitation. But I'm not leaving my daughter with someone who has such poor judgment. The custody evaluation took 6 weeks. A social worker interviewed me, Lauren, Emma's daycare providers, our families, reviewed the video evidence, observed Lauren's supervised visit. The evaluator's report was damning for Lauren. While Ms. Thompson shows appropriate parenting skills during visits, her decision to conduct an extended affair in the family home demonstrates questionable judgment. The affair partner was a family friend with regular access to the home and child, creating potential confusion and instability. Recommendation: primary custody to father with standard visitation to mother. The judge adopted the recommendation. I got primary custody. Emma would live with me, spend every other weekend and 1 weeknight with Lauren. Standard divorced parents arrangement, but with me as primary. Lauren was devastated. But more interesting was what happened with Tyler. 2 weeks after the divorce filing, Tyler tried to reach out to Lauren. I only know this because Lauren's mother told my mother. They'd remained friends despite everything. Tyler wanted to make things official with Lauren now that we were divorcing. Lauren apparently told him she needed space. Wasn't ready for a relationship. Needed to focus on her daughter. Translation: now that the affair had been exposed and had consequences, suddenly Tyler wasn't so appealing. The excitement of sneaking around was gone. The reality of being with the person who helped destroy her marriage was facing her. A month after our separation, I heard through mutual friends that Tyler had moved to California. Couldn't handle the judgment from our friend group. The shame of being exposed as the guy who slept with his best friend's wife. Melissa had apparently told everyone what he'd done. His reputation was destroyed. Lauren tried to reconnect with him. Called him several times according to phone records her attorney had to provide during discovery. Tyler didn't answer. Had moved on completely. So Lauren got neither her affair partner nor her husband. Got neither her family intact nor her exciting secret relationship. Got supervised visitation with her daughter and public humiliation in her community. The divorce was finalized 4 months after I filed. Asset division was straightforward. I kept the house. Bought before marriage, mostly my ex. She got her car and some savings. No spousal support since we'd been married less than 7 years, and she had earning capacity as a teacher. 6 months after the divorce, I started dating again. Went on a few first dates, nothing serious. Then met Rachel at a work conference. She was a project manager at a different company, independent, funny, and most importantly, she had clear boundaries and respect for relationships. When I told Rachel about my divorce on our 3rd date, my ex-wife had an affair with my best friend. I caught them via nanny cam. Divorced and have primary custody of my daughter. Her response was perfect. That's awful. I'm sorry you went through that, but I'm glad you had the strength to walk away from people who didn't value you. 1 year after discovering the affair, my life was completely different. Living in my own apartment with Emma. Co-parenting with Lauren through a court-ordered app. Minimal direct contact. Dating Rachel seriously. Cooper's anxiety had completely disappeared once we moved. Turned out he really was reacting to the affair in his home. Meanwhile, Lauren was teaching full-time, living in a small apartment, spending her weekends alone when Emma was with me. Tyler had apparently gotten married to someone in California, moved on completely, never looked back at the destruction he'd left in Seattle, and Lauren's friendship with her affair partner. The real connection Tyler had claimed they had? That evaporated the moment consequences appeared. He didn't want her when it meant being known as the homewrecker. Didn't want her when it meant social judgment. Just wanted her when it was secret and exciting and consequence-free. 2 years after the divorce, Rachel and I got engaged. Emma loved Rachel, called her Miss Rachel, was excited about the wedding. When I told Emma I was marrying Rachel, she asked, "Will Mommy be sad?" Maybe a little. But Mommy wants Daddy to be happy, and Rachel makes me happy. She makes me happy too. Lauren, to her credit, didn't fight the new relationship, accepted that I'd moved on. Maybe realized she had no right to object, given how our marriage ended. 3 years after the divorce, Rachel and I got married. Small ceremony, just close friends and family. Emma was the flower girl. My brother Jake was my best man, a role Tyler once held, now filled by someone who actually valued loyalty. Cooper was ring bearer. We tied the rings to his collar. Because ironically, the dog we'd gotten to complete our family had been the one to reveal our family was a lie. And once removed from that toxic environment, he'd thrived. I heard through mutual friends that Lauren was still single. Had dated briefly but nothing serious. Still worked as a teacher. Still lived in the same small apartment. Still had Emma every other weekend, but not the daily presence she'd once had. Tyler had apparently divorced in California after a year. Turned out he had a pattern of cheating that his new wife discovered quickly. Last anyone heard, he was in Arizona, working at a different gym, probably repeating the same patterns with new victims. 5 years after discovering the affair, Rachel and I had our first child together, a son we named Jake after my brother. Emma, now 8, was thrilled to be a big sister. We'd bought a house, created a blended family, built something real based on trust and honesty. Lauren would see photos when she picked Emma up. Our family, our home, our happiness. I never rubbed it in, never tried to hurt her. But the contrast was obvious. The life she'd destroyed versus the life I'd rebuilt. Sometimes Emma would mention that Mommy seemed sad. I'd always respond, Mommy made some choices that hurt our family. Sometimes choices have consequences. But Mommy loves you very much. Because despite everything, Lauren was still Emma's mother. I never wanted Emma to hate her mother. Just wanted Emma to understand that actions matter, that betrayal has costs, that families built on lies don't last. 7 years after that Tuesday afternoon when I checked the nanny cam and saw my world shatter, I'm 39 years old. Married to Rachel for 4 years. Father to Emma, 10, and Jake, 2. Living in a home filled with actual trust, actual love, actual partnership. Lauren is 37, still single, still teaching, still living modestly, still seeing Emma every other weekend, still presumably regretting the affair that cost her everything. Tyler is somewhere. Disappeared from our lives completely. No mutual friends in contact. No social media presence. Just gone, like he deserved to be. The nanny cam that exposed them sits in a drawer in my office. I haven't used it since those 2 weeks of recordings. Don't need to monitor Cooper anymore. He's perfectly adjusted now. Don't need evidence of infidelity anymore. That chapter is closed. But I keep it as a reminder that the truth always comes out. That betrayal leaves evidence. That trying to maintain a double life inevitably fails. Lauren and Tyler thought they were so careful, thought they'd gotten away with it, thought I was too trusting, too oblivious to ever discover what they were doing in my home while I worked to support the family they were destroying. They were wrong. A $200 camera meant to help an anxious dog became the instrument of their exposure. Technology they didn't know existed recorded every betrayal, time-stamped and high definition. Sometimes people ask if I regret how I handled it, if I wish I'd confronted them differently, given Lauren a chance to explain or apologize before filing for divorce. The answer is no. They had months to confess, months to show integrity, months to stop betraying me before I discovered it. They chose to continue, chose to lie, chose to use my home for their affair. I simply chose to document their choices and respond accordingly. 7 years later, I'm grateful for that nanny cam. Grateful I discovered the truth before wasting more years on a marriage that was a lie. Grateful I had evidence to protect my custody of Emma. Grateful I found out who my wife and best friend really were before. Investing further in relationships with people who didn't deserve my trust. Lauren lost her marriage, her best friend's husband, her affair partner, her reputation, and primary custody of her daughter, all because she couldn't resist the thrill of secret sex in the home where her daughter lived. Tyler lost his best friend of 12 years, his girlfriend, his community, and eventually his marriage to someone else, all because he couldn't resist betraying the person who trusted him most. And I lost a wife and best friend who never deserved my trust in the first place. But I gained clarity, self-respect, prime daughter, and eventually a real partner in Rachel who actually values fidelity and honesty. The trade-off was worth it. The pain was worth enduring. The exposure was worth the temporary awkwardness. Because 7 years ago, I installed a camera to monitor my dog. Instead, I monitored my wife's infidelity. And that camera saved me from wasting my life on people who would have continued betraying me indefinitely if they hadn't been caught. Sometimes the truth hurts, but lies hurt more. And I'd rather live with painful truth than comfortable lies.